worn out on my own body. I'm going to do a poem. It's called Gangsta Jesus, but I wanted to give it a little bit of an introduction, which I've never done. But I just want you to understand where I'm coming from. You know, I've been a cop for 10 years, and that's a long time. I first started out in Los Angeles. I was a police officer in Los Angeles for 6 years. And I learned a lot about life out there. I learned a lot about myself. I learned that, you put the uniform on out there and people that you don't even know hate you. And so you can relate to a lot of things that other people feel. You're just wearing a blue wool uniform in 80-degree weather and it's hot. And people hate you for that. You drive down some streets and people will throw bottles and rocks at you. On one house they used to set up on the 5th floor and they used to shoot at us just because you're driving black and white. And so you got to decide at some point, when you're a young cop, you got to decide whose side you're really on. You know, a lot of guys play it safe and just go out in a corner somewhere and they just write tickets and collect taxes. But if you want to give your heart and soul trying to make a difference, this goes for anything that you do in life, there's people who are going to hate you for it. And you got to be ready for that. And this poem is about the moment that I decided whose side I was really on and who I was with. 4-year-old Angel walks up to greet me at the corner of my beat at Neglect and Poverty on Old Port Street. Mucho gusto, he says. No, el gusto es mío, mijo. And reaches up to shake my hand with his left. Wrong hand, cute little fellow. And that's the moment I realized he didn't have a right arm. It was just a hit of an arm. You know, it was no hand, no wrist, and no elbow. His mother, a beautiful Mexican mother, almost as beautiful as the olive-skinned mother of my own memory, she says to me, Ángel tiene problemas con su corazón, señor. Ángel tiene 8 años. 8 years old. Yeah, I thought he was 4. So tiny. You see, that's the moment I knew that I could never leave the barrio, that I belonged to these streets, to this tiny, one-handed angel who greeted me that day with this beautiful sonrisa. And in his sonrisa, his smile, I felt the love that once upon a time I felt when my mother and father were still alive and I belonged, because we all want to belong to something. Well, I've seen the face and been given grace at the corner of neglect and poverty. I've seen and felt and known Jesus in this tiny one-handed thing, the barrio diamante, and now you know me for who I was, and now you learned how to hate the LAPD. I think about Angel growing up on that hill from downtown LA with this picturesque view of all of Los Angeles from his front yard. But that was just a scene from a postcard or a movie. It didn't compare to the beautiful barrio that he actually lived in. Clay adobe cottages, white frame cabins, picket fences, and rows of corn, chickens and goats in backyards, the smell of carne asada. And every which way you might look, Diamond Street gang graffiti. Diamond Street, a gang as old as the Mexican Revolution, a gang older than zoot suits and pachucos. Once was, Court Street ran down through Bunker Hill and down into old LA, but then came the long sad decline. Bunker Hill faded away and they replaced it with the freeway, and the tiny barrio was cut off from El Centro, like an island lost and forgotten to sea. And I know the vatos of Diamond Street, I know them. Some of them have honor. They will embrace this angel as a friend and as a brother. But what about Rockwood? Echo Park, Headhunters, Temple Street. The reality is this: when they jump you in again and again in this life, the blows from fists come from the left and the right. So you need a left and a right in this life on these streets, because you can't just cover up and wait for the cops. Well, I pray a twisted prayer to Gangsta Jesus The little angel will learn to throw that left faster than you can say who you with. That he will live like a warrior, poets, but he will live